Creating a digital learning experience in the music classroom is fun, not only for the student, but for the teacher as well. It is a way to make the learning experience more hands-on, creative, and incorporates technology, which is essential for the student learners of today. I have created a lesson for my music theory class that incorporates several tools. I will show you the lesson on a web page that I created. The students will be creating a music composition on their iPhones or iPads. First, I'll show the students some examples of the final outcome of their projects. Here are two examples of performances using just iPhones or iPads. I'll show you a short snippet of one.
When I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change, because you're amazing, just the way you are.
The second step in the lesson is to show the students many of the available applications that they can use to create their composition. I have created groups on Edmodo, which I will show you a little later. The goal will be to write an 8 to 16 measure tune to be performed on instrument applications available on their iPhones or iPads. Students can add vocals if they choose, and finished compositions should be written out on a score prepared on Finale Notepad and should be submitted to the assigned Edmodo group page upon completion. In past years, I have assigned similar composition projects in class that did not involve technology. Students would have had to notate and write out their short compositions on staff paper. The performances would have been on real instruments, and if you did not play that particular instrument, performance of the composition could prove to be very difficult. I would have not created groups on Edmodo, and students would have been assigned groups randomly in class. Being able to pre-assign the groups and have final projects saved on Edmodo saves time and keeps both the student and the teacher more organized. For this project, the students must be familiar with 3 different technology tools. I chose these tools because the students are already familiar with them because I use them throughout the year. The first tool I used is Edmodo. All of my classes and extracurricular groups are on Edmodo. It's easy to assign groups from within a class on Edmodo and save projects online. They're not only archived but available for the student and for the rest of the class now and in the future. You can see very easily who's turned in assignments. If you go to progress, you can see a list right across of everyone who has completed their assignments. And you can also see here that I have previously assigned groups to my theory classrooms for several assignments, breaking the class into smaller individualized groups. The second use of technology is Finale Notepad. I chose this tool because it's free and all my students are already familiar with how to use it. Here's an example of a composition made by one of my music theory students on an arrangement of the Star Spangled Banner. Lastly, the iPads or iPhones. While we don't currently have an iPad lab, it is a future goal of mine to have a lab for the music department. Many of the students do already have iPhones, so even if we had a small amount of available iPads to use, we could still complete this project with individual student phones. And here are links to Edmodo, Finale, and Apple Store. This lesson is ideal because it has something in it for all 3 types of learners: the visual learner who learns best by seeing, the auditory learner who learns by hearing, and the kinesthetic learner who learns best by feeling or experiencing. The visual learners prefer to use images, pictures, colors, and maps to organize information and communicate with others. They can easily visualize objects, plans, and outcomes. In this lesson, the visual learner can see videos of the examples. They will learn and create using iPads or iPhone apps that are extremely visual in nature. The auditory learner learns through listening, An auditory learner depends on hearing and speaking as a main way of learning. Since this is a musical composition project, the auditory learner will learn through hearing melodies and rhythms that are created on the iPad or iPhone. They will be able to hear examples as a guide. They will also be able to hear other group projects as well as their own after it is recorded and posted on Edmodo. Kinesthetic learners learn by carrying out a physical activity rather than listening to a lecture or watching a demonstration. Students will be able to touch the iPad or iPhone to produce the sounds that create the music. They'll be using their hands to touch the piano keys or the guitar strings, drums, or cymbals. Overall, the use of technology in the classroom has helped students of all learning styles remain engaged, organized, and become more productive.